Today we'll start jaundice. Jaundice is very important topic in pathology also. In pathology, in biochemistry, you will study jaundice, and in medicine also you will study jaundice. Today, from the physiological aspect, from the physiological point of view, how the jaundice occurs. We'll study jaundice, and from jaundice, it will be always asked in the question about different types of jaundice in physiology also, in pathology also, or in the biochemistry. It may be asked in the PBQ question or in the SAQ questions, right? So before studying jaundice, we have to study how bilirubin get metabolized. Right? We have already studied that bilirubin is produced by excessive breakdown of RBC. When RBC breakdown in spleen, hemoglobin is exposed, and hemoglobin is made up of two parts, heme plus globin. Globin is an amino acid and it will go to the amino acid pool, whereas heme part is made up of two parts. One is the iron and the protoporphyrin ring. This protoporphyrin ring or tetrapyrrole ring, it is converted to biliverdin, and biliverdin is again converted to bilirubin, and this bilirubin is called free bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin. This unconjugated bilirubin is carried by the albumin. It is attached with albumin, and it will take this unconjugated bilirubin to liver. Albumin lives in the blood, and this unconjugated bilirubin, it enters into the hepatocytes. In the hepatocytes, this unconjugated bilirubin get conjugated, and this conjugated bilirubin, it is poured into the bile canaliculi. This conjugated bilirubin is water soluble. Whereas unconjugated bilirubin or free bilirubin is not water soluble. And because of this conjugated bilirubin, color of the bile is golden yellow or greenish in color. Now this conjugated bilirubin, which is water soluble, is get excreted by urine or in the feces. In this way, liver excretes the excess amount of bilirubin through urine or in the feces. So how the jaundice occur? If this excess bilirubin is more than 2 grams per deciliter, if excess of bilirubin is more than 2 grams per deciliter is in the blood, then it is called jaundice. So jaundice or icterus refers to the yellow appearance of the skin, sclera, and mucous membrane resulting from an increased bilirubin concentration. Means jaundice is seen when there is yellow appearance of the skin, sclera, and mucous membrane resulting from increased bilirubin concentration. And when what is the normal concentration of bilirubin? So normal serum bilirubin concentration is 0.5 mg per deciliter, or in range you can say that 0.3 to 1 mg per deciliter. This is the normal concentration of bilirubin in the blood or in the serum. And when bilirubin is clinically detected when bilirubin concentration is more than 2 mg per deciliter. Simply, jaundice refers to the yellow appearance of skin, sclera, and mucous membrane resulting from increased bilirubin concentration in the body fluid. So bilirubin is generally produced from excessive breakdown of RBC in the spleen. And when RBC is breakdown, this bilirubin is formed. This bilirubin is called the free bilirubin, or it is called unconjugated bilirubin. Unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble. It is insoluble in water, but conjugated bilirubin is water soluble. This conjugated bilirubin is excreted in urine. This conjugated bilirubin, which is water soluble, is excreted in urine, excreted in the feces. But unconjugated bilirubin, which is not water soluble, it is lipid soluble. it is not excreted in the urine. Again I am repeating it. Unconjugated bilirubin, which is the result of breakdown of RBC, and it combines with albumin. Albumin carries this unconjugated bilirubin to liver. This unconjugated bilirubin, which is not water soluble or it is insoluble in water, it is not get excreted. It does not get excreted in the urine. But when this unconjugated bilirubin, it becomes conjugated and it is poured into the bile canaliculi, this conjugated bilirubin, which is water soluble, it get excreted. It get excreted in the urine or in the feces. Okay. Now the mechanism. Now the mechanism of jaundice and types of jaundice. There are three types. There are three types of jaundice. There are three types of jaundice. There are three types of jaundice and three mechanism. One is the excessive breakdown of RBC. Excessive breakdown of RBC produce called hemolytic jaundice. Excessive breakdown of RBC called hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice. Prehepatic means before entering into the liver. Before entering into the liver is called prehepatic jaundice. So there are three types of jaundice. One is due to excessive breakdown of RBC. Excessive breakdown of RBC is called hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice. Second is the damage to the liver cell. Damage to the liver cells are infective or toxic, produce so-called the hepatic or hepatocellular jaundice. First is the excessive breakdown of RBC called hemolytic jaundice, or it is also called prehepatic jaundice. Pre means before entering into the liver. Second is the damage to the liver cell. Damage to the liver cell, so it is called hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice. It is called hepatic jaundice or hepatocellular jaundice. Third is the obstruction of bile duct. Obstruction of bile duct produces the obstructive or post-hepatic jaundice. Post-hepatic means outside the liver. Post-hepatic means outside the liver. So it is called post-hepatic jaundice. So again, I am repeating it. There are three types. There are three types and three mechanisms of jaundice. One is the excessive breakdown of RBC. Excessive breakdown of RBC is called hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice. Second is the damage to the liver cell. Damage to the liver cell, it produces jaundice. So called the hepatic jaundice or hepatocellular jaundice. Third is the obstruction of bile flow. Obstruction of bile flow. Obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct. Obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct or in the hepatic duct or in the common bile duct, it is called obstructive jaundice or post-hepatic jaundice. So again I am repeating it. There are three types. There are three types and three mechanisms of jaundice. One is the excessive breakdown of RBC called hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice. Second is the damage to the liver cell, so-called hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice. Third is the obstruction of bile flow. Obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct or in the hepatic duct or common bile duct is called post-hepatic jaundice or obstructive jaundice. Let's see the mechanism. First of all, let's see what are the three types of jaundice. RBC, again I am repeating it. RBCs when become senile after 120 days. RBC when becomes senile after, that is 120 days, it becomes destroyed or it becomes destroyed in the spleen. When RBC is broken down, hemoglobin is exposed. Hemoglobin is made up of two parts, heme plus globin. Globin is a protein, so it goes through the amino acid pool. And heme is again made up of two parts. One is the iron and another is the protoporphyrin ring or tetrapyrrole ring. And from this tetrapyrrole ring, it is converted to biliverdin, and this biliverdin is again converted to bilirubin. This bilirubin is called the free bilirubin. This bilirubin is called the free bilirubin. And this free bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin is carried by the albumin. This free bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin, which is not water soluble, is carried by the albumin, and this albumin will take this unconjugated bilirubin to liver, and in this liver, this unconjugated bilirubin get converted to conjugated bilirubin, that is bilirubin diglucuronide. Bilirubin diglucuronide. This bilirubin diglucuronide is conjugated bilirubin, and this conjugated bilirubin get excreted in the bile, and this conjugated bilirubin get excreted in the bile. For the excretion of bilirubin, remember one thing. For the excretion of bilirubin, bilirubin should be water soluble. For the excretion of bilirubin, bilirubin should be water soluble, and conjugated bilirubin is water soluble, whereas unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble. So the unconjugated bilirubin do not get excreted. Unconjugated bilirubin do not get excreted in the urine or in the feces, but conjugated bilirubin, which is water soluble, is excreted in the feces or in the urine. Again, so before entering into the liver, it is called hemolytic jaundice. When bilirubin concentration, that is unconjugated bilirubin concentration is more than 2 gram per deciliter, more than 2 mg per deciliter. When the concentration of unconjugated bilirubin or free bilirubin is more than 2 mg per deciliter, then it is called jaundice, and it is hemolytic jaundice. It is hemolytic jaundice. When this unconjugated bilirubin enter into the liver, but the liver cannot conjugate. Again, when this unconjugated bilirubin enters into the liver, but the liver is insufficient to conjugate all the unconjugated bilirubin, then it is called hepatocellular jaundice. Hepatocellular jaundice. It is due to the hepatitis or the cirrhosis of liver. It is due to the hepatitis or cirrhosis of liver. Again, I am repeating it. Before entering into the liver, bilirubin, before entering into the liver, it is called hemolytic jaundice or prehepatic jaundice. Prehepatic jaundice, which is due to the excessive breakdown of RBC. When this unconjugated bilirubin enters into the liver and liver fails to conjugate the unconjugated bilirubin, is called hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice. Hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice. Second, third is when there is obstruction of bile flow. When there is obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct or in the hepatic bile duct, then it is called obstructive jaundice. When there is obstruction of bile flow in the bile duct, then it is called obstructive jaundice. Here it is 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the hemolytic jaundice. It is due to the excessive breakdown of RBC that will produce unconjugated bilirubin. Second is when it enters this unconjugated bilirubin, enters into the liver, and when this unconjugated bilirubin enters into the liver, but liver fails to conjugate all the unconjugated bilirubin, is called hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice. Means that liver is insufficient to convert all unconjugated bilirubin to conjugate bilirubin. Means liver is incapable of conjugating all the bilirubin. So it is called hepatic jaundice. So outside the liver is called post-hepatic jaundice. When there is obstruction in the bile duct, when there is obstruction of bile flow, which is due to the stone, stone may obstruct the bile flow, and this is called obstructive jaundice. Either there is obstruction in the bile flow, this is called obstructive jaundice. Now let's see. I have already told that for the excretion of bilirubin, it should be water soluble. Unconjugated bilirubin is not water soluble, so it is not excreted in urine. But conjugated bilirubin, it is water soluble, so it get excreted. So it get excreted in the urine and in the feces. So let's see what happened. for the hepatocellular, for the hemolytic jaundice, there is excessive production of bilirubin. Means there is excessive unconjugated bilirubin in the blood. There is excessive unconjugated bilirubin in the blood. Again, for hemolytic jaundice, there is excessive. When conjugated bilirubin get mixed with this azodide, when this conjugated bilirubin get mixed with this azo reagent, that is the sulfonylic acid, hydrochloric acid, and sodium nitrate, then it immediately give color. Then it will immediately give color. This is called direct positive test. This is called the direct positive test. And again, I am repeating it. When conjugated bilirubin, that is when conjugated bilirubin, that is water soluble, get mixed with the azo reagent, that is azo reagent is a mixture of sulfonylic acid, hydrochloric acid, and sodium nitrate. It immediately gives the color. That is reddish violet color. It is called direct positive test. And what is indirect positive test? That when unconjugated bilirubin get mixed with the azo reagent, that is the sulfonylic acid, hydrochloric acid, and sodium nitrate, it does not give the color. But when this unconjugated bilirubin and azo reagent mixed with the alcohol, when alcohol is added, then this unconjugated bilirubin get dissolved. And it gives the color. This is called indirect positive. It is called indirect positive. Again, I am repeating it. Simply, Vandenberg test. Vandenberg test is the test to differentiate between the conjugated bilirubin and unconjugated bilirubin that is present in the blood. What this test will do, that when conjugated bilirubin get mixed with the azo reagent, then it gives immediately color. That is called direct positive test. When unconjugated bilirubin get mixed with the azo reagent, it does not give the color. But when alcohol is added to it, it gives color. This is called indirect positive. Again, I am repeating it. Vandenberg test, it usually differentiates conjugated bilirubin and unconjugated bilirubin in the blood. When conjugated bilirubin get mixed with the azo reagent, it immediately gives the color, that is reddish violet color. This is called Vandenberg positive test. And Vandenberg negative test is the when unconjugated bilirubin get mixed with the azo reagent, it does not give the color. But when alcohol is added, it immediately gives the color. This is called indirect positive, because alcohol dissolves the unconjugated bilirubin to conjugated bilirubin. Water soluble bilirubin. So it is called indirect positive. For the differentiation of hemolytic jaundice, hepatic jaundice, and obstructive jaundice, you have to draw this table. For hemolytic jaundice, fecal stercobilinogen means there is stool color will be strong. In hemolytic jaundice, fecal stercobilinogen will be increased. In the hepatic jaundice, fecal stercobilinogen is decreased, and in the obstructive jaundice, fecal stercobilinogen is absent. Let's see. In hemolytic jaundice, there is excessive breakdown of RBC. And the liver will increase its capacity to convert all the unconjugated bilirubin to conjugated bilirubin. So in hemolytic jaundice, fecal stercobilinogen is increased. But in the hepatic jaundice, due to the liver damage, few amount of conjugated bilirubin get excreted in the feces. And in the obstructive jaundice, there is no flow of bile, so it is absent. Similar, urinary urobilinogen, increased amount of urobilinogen in the hemolytic jaundice, and in the hepatic jaundice there is decrease, because due to the liver damage, liver damage, few amount of bilirubin get converted to conjugated bilirubin and it is excreted in the bile. So in the hepatic jaundice, urinary urobilinogen is decreased. In the obstructive jaundice, it is absent. Urinary bilirubin is bilirubin appears in the urine. Bilirubin appears in the urine. In hemolytic jaundice, it is absent because in the hemolytic jaundice, there is absent. In the hemolytic jaundice, there is excessive unconjugated bilirubin. Unconjugated bilirubin, it combines with albumin because albumin do not get filtered in the kidney. So it does not appear in the urine. So in hemolytic jaundice, urinary bilirubin is absent. In hepatic jaundice, it is present. In hepatic jaundice, it is present. In hepatic jaundice, it is present because of conjugated bilirubin. In obstructive jaundice, it is present because of conjugated bilirubin. Vandenberg test. In hemolytic jaundice, it is unconjugated bilirubin, so it is indirect positive. In hemolytic jaundice, it is unconjugated bilirubin, so it is Vandenberg test is indirect. And hepatic jaundice, it is biphasic because in the blood there is both unconjugated bilirubin as well as conjugated bilirubin. And in the obstructive jaundice, it is direct. In the obstructive jaundice, it is direct positive. In the obstructive jaundice, it is direct positive because in the obstructive jaundice, in the blood, more amount of conjugated bilirubin is there. And liver function, in hemolytic jaundice, it is normal. Liver function, in the hemolytic jaundice, it is normal. In the hepatic jaundice, it is impaired. In the obstructive jaundice, may be impaired. These are the things in the jaundice. So if you have any questions, then I can answer, or I can also repeat it. If you have any questions, ask me. Do you understand the jaundice, physiological aspect of jaundice? I can also repeat it.
Yes, sir.
It is always asked in the exam, in the PPQ as well as in the SAQ. If you understand the